Vishen, come back here. Give me a hug, man. I need a hug.
Oh.
So I forgot to give him a hug because I am very, very nervous right now. Because talking to this crowd of people is not like talking to a business crowd of people, to a marketing crowd of people. I have to talk to you about my truth, and that's a very scary thing. There's a voice inside of my head right now that is telling me that I cannot do this. It's telling me that this relative success that I've had in my life is luck, and that I'm a fraud. And that voice is always with me, and it'll be with us throughout the entirety of our speech. I call this voice Gonzalo. Gonzalo has ruled the majority of my life. For the most of my life, I was paralyzed by self-judgment. I wanted to be a filmmaker. That's what I studied, and I couldn't get myself to finish any movies or to do anything that really was about my truth. So I did some crappy commercials and that type of stuff, but it was never about my truth. And because Zumba was not at the center of what I wanted to be, I was able to circumvent Gonzalo. When I joined Zumba, it was a super cheesy brand. It was, we were the joke of the fitness industry. We were 5 Colombian guys. Our front man didn't even speak English. And we walk into this snooty fitness industry at the time. And, in 2000, that was 2005, 2006. In 2012, when Inc. magazine named us Company of the Year, the reporter asked me if I knew that Zumba was going to happen the way it happened. And before I could filter my thoughts, what came through me was yes, definitely yes. Zumba was inevitable. It was more real in our heads than the real world was. And I think that is what allowed the world to catch up and to turn it into what it is today. Once we were in that distorted reality, in that space of inevitability, of, it's going to happen whether we're there or not. The world needs this. The world is yearning for it. And once we were in that space, completely convinced of this, all we had to do was listen. So the Zumba story is really a story about listening. In the 1990s, my partner, Beto, that you saw up there, was an aerobics instructor. And one day, he forgot his aerobics music. And he, nervous, like I am right now, he reached into his backpack and, threw on whatever tape he had and announced to his aerobics class that today we're going to improvise. We're just going to dance our hearts out. I'm not going to count reps over the music. I'm not going to cue or anything like that. And he hit play and he started dancing. And he heard the most amazing sounds coming out of that class. People usually moan and grunt in a gym. He heard people clapping and cheering and having an amazing time. So he listened to that. He harnessed that. And then a few years later, we created the first Zumba infomercial. Super cheesy, like it was disgusting. But the infomercial started airing, and people started calling and asking how they could become Zumba instructors. So instead of saying, no, we don't offer that, we listened to that, we harnessed that, we listened to what it wanted to be, not what we wanted it to be. So we created an Instructor Certification program. Today, we've certified over 500,000 instructors. In a few years later, we saw that in one of those certification programs, there was a person filming it, and we and we asked them, why are you filming it? And we realized that there was a big need for continuing education materials and support for our instructors. So we developed the Zumba Instructor Network, where instructors pay $30 a month and they get their choreography DVDs and their music CDs and all that stuff that they need. And today we have 200,000 instructors inside of the Zumba Instructor Network. Again, we listened to that, we harnessed it. A few years later, somebody tattooed a Zumba logo on their arm. And we thought to ourselves, well, maybe we're not dealing with a fitness brand, maybe we're dealing with a lifestyle brand. And so if yoga sits at the crux of spirituality and fitness, Zumba would sit at the crux of fitness and entertainment. And so we repositioned we said that the value proposition for Zumba was not going to be weight loss or getting an amazing six-pack or a beach body or anything like that. It was going to be freeing, electrifying joy. That moment in a Zumba class when your inhibitions go out the window and you don't give a shit what you look like and you just dance your heart out. And so no longer would you see a full-body shot of a amazing person with an amazing six-pack on our website. You would see a close-up of a person totally lost in the music. And when we repositioned the brand that way, that was in 2006, on social media, we aggregated 1 million people in like the span of a few months. It was nuts. People got it. We struck a nerve. There was a truth that the world was yearning for that just came through us. And so that happened. And then, then it took off from there. Today we have thousands of people with the logo tattooed on their body. It really became that inevitable that we had in our head. It was able to transfer. See, to me, there's a continuum between consciousness and matter. It's all one continuum. So just by having an inspiration, an idea, whatever you want to do in the world, you already started. And if you're able to stay there long enough, the world catches up. And we all know that. I guess it's, Emily, you were talking about asanas this morning. It's like your asana. It's like your yoga asana. You stay there. You stay there long enough for the energy to flow through that position, and the world catches up. And that's how Zumba felt. Thank you for that. So there are really 3 stages to this kind of stepping into inevitability. The first stage is letting it come through you, because I don't believe that you can, or at least it hasn't been my reality, that you can just say, hey, I want a big house and a Ferrari, and I'm going to manifest that, and it's going to happen. It's just not that simple. To me, you have to latch on to a truth. It's kind of like this background. There's all these little truths floating around in the world. And Zumba was one tiny little speck. And we took it and we said, okay, there's something here, and we're going to harness it. We're going to listen to it. It's very much like parenting. It's what your kid wants to be. You're supporting your kid. And we harnessed it and harnessed it and harnessed it until it became what it was. So the first thing is listen and find your truth. And you don't even find your truth. Actually, your truth kind of finds you. It kind of hits you. And then you just have to commit to it and stay with it. The second phase of it is having the courage to actually step into your truth, or step into this field of inevitability. That's not easy. In 2006, we created the slogan for Zumba was ditch the workout, join the party. And our gym partners were gonna stop doing business with us if we were gonna stick to that slogan. But it was the truth. It was what the brand wanted to be. And we said, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. We have to put the brand first. And today, Zumba's in virtually every gym in the world. Nothing really bad happened. And we were true to what the brand wanted to be. So it takes a little bit of courage to actually step into it. And then the hardest thing is to stay there. And to stay in that space of inevitability, where your distorted reality is more real to you than the real world, where it takes a lot of things. One of the things that we did was we painted our walls. That was a very simple thing. We went into it was our Zumba was real in our office, at least if it wasn't real in the rest of the world yet. We took feedback. Every time there was feedback, a person tattooed the logo or whatever, we put it on the wall. We wanted that to continue to build the resonance. Greg Braden talks about a form of prayer that is not a prayer where you ask for something. It's a prayer where you actually step into it and you feel it and you are it. And that's I think, the same thing. What else? Models, business models. Business models are great to get inspiration from them, but they can also box you up. If you're trying to do, the same thing that Zumba did, but for, something else, it's not going to work. You have to listen to it, to what it wants to be, not, the stuff that you learn and then you superimpose it and then it's kind of lopsided and you're trying to fit a square hole in a round peg or whatever, however that goes. So be careful, be very wary of models, be very wary of feedback. Again, remember, it's like parenting. You want your kid to be whatever his truth is, not whatever you want to impose on him or whatever the world wants to impose on him, and you want to protect that space. Models, consumer feedback, research, all that has a place, and be very wary of that. And above all, I think that every one of us has a voice like mine, Gonzalo, inside of our heads. It flares up from time to time. We have to live with it. You can't shut it away because what you resist will persist, and you have to be with it. And again, like a son or daughter, you have to love it. You have to be compassionate towards it because it is part of you. And be compassionate, but don't let it drive the car. Listen to it, but take the risk. And there's one other thing that I want to cover. So what happened today is I threw out my script because you guys are so more advanced, and you guys inspire me and you blow me away. So I wasn't gonna give you some patronizing speech about how to build a company. So that's why I'm here mumbling. So, getting started is realize that you have already started. If you have a moment of inspiration, a vision, something that feels right to you in the world, a truth that has come and landed on you and tapped you to be responsible for this truth, it has already started. And remember that there's a continuum between consciousness and matter, and it's a matter of time before, matter catches up. You have to stay with it. You have to honor it. You have to listen to it. Or you could jump to the next idea, or the next one, or the next one, or the next one, and build little holes and never strike water. So it's about holding your asana. Imagine if I did yoga, in fast motion, and I did it, it wouldn't work. But if I hold my asana and I really sink into it until energy flows through it, that's when the magic happens. So thank you very much.